I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 160, ExtremeG. Released in 1997, this game was developed by Probe Entertainment and published by Acclaim. I hadn't heard of this game before this challenge, but many people brought it up to me as one of the better games. I didn't play many racing games growing up. I guess I just wasn't too interested in them. From what it seems, this is an arcade racer, kind of like an F-Zero. Not too much else to say because I'd never seen the game before this. But before we get into it, this video is sponsored by 110 Industries, who are showing off their game, Wanted Dead. It's their first game that focuses on being a single-player story-driven game. Basically, it's a crazy hack-and-slash game, seamlessly mixing melee combat with a katana and ranged combat with a pistol. It's pretty sweet and very satisfying to do. The game is designed to be a love letter to the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation of video games, and I think it shows. I have a ton of nostalgia for that era. Like, if you've had a long day, there's nothing better than just beating up a ton of bad guys. Every level ends in a boss fight that has unique mechanics to keep things fresh. The devs are constantly working to improve the game and add new content to it. Also, Wanted Dead recently got a new patch, which brings significant performance upgrades via DLSS update, along with the inclusion of FSR support. The update adds support for Steam Cloud saves and a stats menu for easier tracking of your achievements and trophies. More updates are on the way. Need a breather from all the action? There's some wild mini-games like the crane game, a retro-styled shoot-em-up, and even a ramen-eating rhythm game? That is amazing! This was one of the craziest games of 2023 that many people might have overlooked, so don't miss out on it. Some big gaming news organizations like Kotaku and Gaming Bolt have mentioned it in their top 10 lists of 2023. You can purchase the game yourself by using my link in the video description. And right now you can pick up Wanted Dead for 67% off. The sale will be active until February 28th on PlayStation. The price on Xbox and PC has been significantly adjusted as well. Wanted Dead is on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, as well as Steam. Thank you again to 110 Industries for sponsoring the video. And now, let's get into it. Okay, this video is kind of in two parts. When I initially played this game, I just rushed through it on Novice. While I was making this video, I realized there's a lot of stuff I missed, so I decided to revisit the game. The main single player mode in this game is the Extreme Contest, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. When you select it, there are 3 cups to go for: Atomic, Critical Mass, and Meltdown. You have to beat the previous to unlock the next. There were quite a few bikes to choose: Raze, Rana, Khan, Grimace, Muga, Jolt, Maim, and Apollyon. They all have stats in acceleration, speed, turning, shield, and weapons. I had no idea what stats were good for this game, so I just went with Grimace. When the first race started, everyone blew past me, so there was some method of a boosted start I needed to learn. I had a laser I could fire, but I quickly ran out of ammo, represented by the bar on the bottom left. Grimace has the lowest weapon stat after all. Still so confused as to what was going on, I picked up an item that put some circles next to my bike. Pressing C right sent out an electrical pulse on both sides, but there was no one around to get hit by it. But yeah, this first course is the desert. The driving in this game is so fast. It gets even faster when you hit these red boost walls. It just feels like the track is flying by faster than my brain can process it. Thankfully, hitting the walls is fairly forgiving in this, or else I'd be stopping the entire time. I was in first for nearly the entire race, but I blew it right at the end and got third. You're scored on a traditional point system, and you need a certain amount to progress to the next. This race required 4th or better, and now the next will require 3rd or better. Getting more points makes it easier to qualify for the next race. Race 2 is on Desert 2. There are 3 variants of each track, but they're quite different. It's not like they're just the same thing slightly remixed, so it's very common for these tracks to have branching paths. It's not obvious which way is faster, so you just have to learn via trial and error. Also, is it just me or does the ground here look just like the bonus levels in Sonic 2? On lap 3, I realized I could do a manual boost with C down. You start a race with 3 of them and they are crucial to winning. The CPU also gets them though, so it's not that overpowered. I also fell off the track at this jump so often. I wound up in 5th here and yeah, that wasn't good enough to qualify. Back to the start. I swapped a main because Grimace felt a bit underwhelming. It has stats good in everything except shield, which it has none. I got 3rd place this time, but it was good enough because I got 1st in race 1 that time. Next up was City 1. As you might expect, this track changes the environment up to look like you're driving through a metropolis. If you can believe it, there's actually some lore for this game, although you have to look up the manual to find it. The government banned ExtremeG races and set up a virtual replacement. However, the citizens of the new United Planets think that's boring, so after 25 years of the ban, they've set up an underground version of the real thing. The early races were crude and rough, and when the first people died in them, it shocked the world. Since the people liked it so much, sponsors rolled in and they actually had the funds to build bikes that were capable of achieving ExtremeG. The military then took notice of the capabilities of these bikes and took control of the races. They used them as a training ground to test new technologies and train new riders as soldiers. What's hilarious about this is I checked the manual for the sequel to this game and it has identical text. Maybe they knew no one ever read it. I got 1st on this race and I was feeling pretty good. When the next track loaded, it said final race. Well, that was quick. This was Mines and Canyons 1. The coolest part in this one is the spinning tunnel where you also get a speed boost. As disorienting as it is, it just feels awesome to speed up and hear your engine getting even louder. I was in 3rd going through the final lap, but I saw a ton of explosions happening in front of me. These CPUs are so dumb. They blew each other up and I was able to sneak into the lead. For winning, it shows a cutscene with my bike like ascending in some arena type place, then it said I got a prize. It told me to enter my name as Roller, which is one of the game's many cheat codes. And it told me to try critical mass. So the roller cheat is amazing. It just turns all the bikes into boulders. Now I really want a rock racing game. Make it happen. This was me driving in the critical mass circuit. It increases the courses raced on from 4 to 7. As you might expect, the 3rd circuit unlocks all the races, so it's kind of weird that you even have to unlock them at all. It's not like the rules are different or anything. Love racing as that boulder though. I won this circuit easily and I was feeling pretty good about myself. Alright, remember how I said this was in 2 parts? I ended up beating the other game modes on Novice and was done. Recently, I went back and redid them on the highest difficulty. First though, I had to unlock them again because my save file was dead. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and music. I think the graphics are pretty good for what's here. There are lots of colors and the vehicles all have cool designs. For a game going as fast as it does, it is a bit frustrating that it lags, but most of the time it's stable. The music is absolutely incredible though. It's techno with some drum and bass elements and man, I love it. I think this style fits high-speed racing like this so well. Honestly, one of the best soundtracks on the console with the potential to even be the best. Alright, so the first thing to unlock is the secret bike Roach. I had to beat Meltdown Cup on intermediate difficulty. Before this, I had only ever touched the game on Novice. This consists of all 12 tracks in the game, with the first 2 being the same as Atomic. It said I needed to get 2nd place on race 1, and I got 3rd. It plays a pretty funny cutscene showing your bike getting grabbed by one of those junkyard magnets and then dropped into an incinerator. Gotta assume the driver's still inside too. After those first 2 was Desert 3. This one has a ramp at the start that punishes you hard if you don't have enough speed. Those pipes have collision, but the thing I went through definitely does not. There are several tunnels in this one and one section with a branching path. It's kinda weird because the aesthetics of these desert tracks all look the same, but they play quite different. I got 1st place here and I was out of the desert. After a 1st place finish on City 1, it was on to City 2. Initially, I picked up a power-up here that is pretty overpowered. It sends a flame behind you, slowing everyone that tries to pass. Not only that, it boosts you the entire time and it lasts 10 seconds. One of the best to get. The most interesting feature here is the loop. Good luck trying to stay in the center of the track on this thing. Then there's this tight pathway where you have to weave left and right to avoid these pieces of metal shooting out. It was rare for me to get through there without screwing up. I got 1st here and I was still kind of crushing it on intermediate. City 3 was next. There's the junkyard I died in earlier, except now I'm driving. I'm sure those flames aren't giving off any bad emissions or anything. At the end, you go up an escalator and squeeze through a group of abandoned buses to make it to the end. I got 1st place once again. After a 1st place finish on Mines and Canyons 1, I was so far ahead at this point that it just said I needed to get last place to continue qualifying. My points were crushing it. This is Mines and Canyons 2. This one takes place entirely within the mine, so it's quite different from the first one. I really like the idea of racing underground. Okay, I've got a bone to pick here. Some of the comments I received on my VOD channel for this game, people were saying how I kept driving past all the shortcuts. However, I literally found one shortcut in this entire game. It's this ramp here, although I was never able to react in time to know it was coming up. If there are any other shortcuts in this entire game, they are so well hidden that I don't expect anyone to find them. Second place here, but it barely mattered at this point. I had all but secured the win. Okay, Mines and Canyons 3 is nuts. Right away I was met with a ledge with no barrier, into the lava I go. You just respawn when this happens, but it takes time and your speed is 0 when you come back. This is the hardest track to drive on by far, and it's not even close. It's wild how there are barely any barriers here, but all the other levels have them. I don't know if you noticed in every other clip before this, but I was blasting those walls. It doesn't punish you much at all for doing so, so this level feels a bit out of place. I guess it's the devs telling you to get good. The track ends after a portal, which never happens in another track either. I got 4th here, but luckily it didn't matter. After that, it's on to a new grouping, of course, Space Station 1. Honestly, this track is super chill. Aside from the new aesthetic making this interesting, it's probably the easiest one to drive on. Many of the turns are only slight, so you can really stay at top speed most of the race. I got 1st place here easily. Space Station 2 changes it up a bit by putting these barriers that make it feel like you're driving underwater. Several branching paths and smoke screens to obfuscate your view are here. The later part of this track is just absolute chaos. I could barely even follow what was going on, but again, the walls are very forgiving. As long as you can fudge your way through, it's fine. I got 1st here and there was only one left now. In Space Station 3, the place looks like a mix of the planet Namek and that Valhalla map from Halo 3. It's pretty cool how we went from the desert, where all the tracks look basically the same, to this. There are trees all over the place, it's just a big grab bag of cool looking things. Probably my favorite track. There's a fairly disorienting segment near the end where you drive upside down or something. It's hard to tell with how fast paced this game is. I got 1st place, and that was the end of Meltdown on Intermediate. It shows the same cutscene with my bike ascending, then it showed me unlocking Roach to play as. So here's where it gets a bit spicy. There were 2 things left to unlock. For beating Meltdown on extreme difficulty, I'd unlock Neon, the best bike in the game. For beating it on extreme without using Roach or Neon, I'd unlock a bonus track. Well, I figured I'd just unlock both of these at once. Getting 1st on every race can be a bit problematic because the game only allows you to save every 3 races, so I'd have to be perfect 3 times in a row with the computer on a higher difficulty. Here's how that went. I missed that boost, are you kidding me? Dude, right when I use my boost, he blasts me, man. Do the EMP. Dude, what's that garbage? God, what is happening? What the? I think the game saves every 3 races, so I need to get first 3 in a row to get kind of like a checkpoint, I guess. Oh my god. What do you mean Spyro 3? That's the best one. Why did you turn around? Oh my god, why did that happen? Well, that was cool. Yep, awesome. Love that. Oh my god! Stop falling off! Oh my god! That guy bonked me in the air and knocked me off the cliff. That sucked. My god! What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Oh my god. Oh, I had no speed. There's nothing I could do. Oh my god. Of course I get shot. Oh my god. So yeah, you could say I was a little frustrated by this point. I hadn't touched on it too much, but there are several weapons in this game. Most are various missiles, but there's a really annoying one that I called an EMP. It's this wave that gets launched way too far down the entire track, and when it hits you, your engine shuts off and you can't turn. If this hits you at a bad time, it's just the end of your race. The AI is so much more aggressive on extreme mode, so you're getting hit by explosions all the time. I felt like this challenge didn't really make sense to go for. Not only did I have to deal with the highest difficulty, not only did I have to get first on every race, but I wasn't even allowed to use the bike I unlocked. Roach had so much better stats than everybody. It was at this point that I just decided to beat the game on extreme with Roach to unlock Neon, and that'd be my final clear condition. Man, what a weight lifted off my shoulders. It's not easy to even get past the first 3 races based on the qualify requirement. It's weird though, because you need to get first in one race and second in the other 2 to make it. But then on the next race you only need 7th to advance. Feels like they didn't balance the points requirements properly. Either way, I was out and had a save point. I think the thing I was most proud of in this run was getting first place on Mines and Canyons 3. Although I think the AI struggled with not falling in the lava just as much as I did, but still. It's a tough track. But yeah, once you get past those first 3, it's pretty easy to win on Extreme. With that, I'd beaten the game on the highest difficulty. But that's not all, you can enter a password to unlock the bonus track anyway. And man, as if getting this track isn't hard enough, the actual reward is just a slap in the face. There's barely any features to this track. I think you could mistake this one for a NASCAR track. Lap times are under 20 seconds, with them being around 60 for the other courses. Honestly, this feels like a troll. So there are a few other cheats in the game. If you set your name to Extreme, it increases the speed of all bikes. Floating at a max speed of 180 to 200, it now sits around 250. So if you wanted to make the races even crazier, this is how. Setting the name to Ghostly paints this weird fog effect on the map, as well as making the track transparent. I kinda hate this. Putting Ugly mode makes the graphics worse. I'm not sure why you'd want to do this. Maybe it prevents the game from lagging or something like that. Setting your name to Fergus makes all the other ships a face. I assume that's Fergus. Maybe one of the devs? The credits play if you just sit at the intro screen long enough. But yeah. That's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating ExtremeG. What a good but frustrating game. I think it's so fun to drive at absurdly high speeds like this. Compared to something like Wipeout 64 or Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, this game leans more into the chaos rather than the skilled driving. Sure, Wipeout had weapons, but they weren't as big of a deal as this game's is. Hitting walls in those 2 are a death sentence, but in this, it's completely fine. It's like a mix of F-Zero and Mario Kart in a way. I think it could have been a blast to have back in the day, and it still holds up as pretty fun now. Personally, I liked Wipeout a bit more, but this is a good time. The music is top tier, not much can beat it out. The tracks could use a bit more diversity in how they look, and none of the obstacles in them are all that memorable. I also think the bikes themselves look a bit too similar. Still, it's a great game, and I think you'd have fun if you checked it out. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 for enjoyability. I initially gave it a 2.5 out of 10 for difficulty, but I changed it to 6 out of 10 after doing it on Extreme. Alright, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. We had a randomized marble race to determine which game was next, so here's how that played out. Or skip to the timestamp on screen to skip straight to the game selection. Alright, we got 231 games on the list, racing on Robotic Roadway. Let's see what we're playing. You guys can't join? This is a N64 race. Alright, Star Fox 64, the first one down. NBA Hang Time, A Bug's Life coming down as well. Star Fox and Mahjong 64 opting for the right, Bug's Life, San Francisco Rush on the left. And it appears these 2 paths are slightly different. One of them must be faster than the other, folks. So we'll see how this plays out. Nuclear Strike 64 in the lead on the right. San Francisco Rush on the left. And it's hard to follow this, folks. And it looks like we got a few games trying to come down the hole. And what is it? Oh my god, the camera operator has screwed up a bit, and J-League falls with Rainbow Six in the lead. Mortal Kombat, Mahjong, WCW. There's some hammers here, could cause some shakeups. Rainbow Six escapes through the hammer and hitting a big cube. Mortal Kombat and Rainbow Six crushing this course right now. Rainbow Six definitely the favorite. A lot getting hit by that hammer, you can see them. And Rainbow Six, oh, I remember this course. This is a hover section. We got Rainbow Six with Mortal Kombat and WCW NWO Revenge, not too far behind Jeopardy. Cruising USA falling off the cliff, will not be today. Rainbow Six, and no, WCW versus NWO Revenge taking the lead, getting through these cubes. We got Top Gear as well, Madden, Rainbow Six, WCW NWO Revenge. This could be a banger wrestling game, folks. FIFA 99 trying to steal the show, though, coming through in the quad comb. And they both get held up, and Rainbow Six is coming in for an attack now with Castlevania Legacy of Darkness as well. And FIFA 99 breaks free, but hits these cubes and gets stopped up. FIFA 99 is trying so hard, but FIFA 99 is completely throttled. It could be anything. Can FIFA escape this roadblock? Oh my god, NFL Blitz out of nowhere trying to come through, and it appears it's Custom Robo. I think that's a Japanese exclusive title. Custom Robo with the upset. FIFA 99 tried so hard, but we are playing the next Custom Robo game, which is just Custom Robo. But yeah, if you're still here watching, you're awesome. Thank you so much. If you had a good time, consider hitting that like button, or maybe even dropping a subscription. Or hey, maybe even watch another one of these videos that's on screen now. And yeah, see you next time.